welcome back to my channel. I am here again with my sister Jennifer because we're both avid readers, we both love books, and we have decided to challenge ourselves to reading our shelves this next year. So if you have never heard of this, I just want to give you like a quick overview of what this is about. Basically, if you're a book lover, it's very hard to stop buying books.
Yeah.
You see a new one, it looks good, sounds good, you just want it.
And then that's the problem, is you get excited about a new book that you bought and you forget about the other books that are already on your shelves and have been for 5 years.
That you're still
that
excited,
you were excited about
to read, but it's like a new one comes out and then you just want to buy that one. So because of that, the both of us have amassed a collection of books, which we're fine with. We don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
However, we do know that we have quite a few of them that we haven't read yet.
Yeah.
So we have decided to challenge ourselves to, for this next year, which sounds like such a long time.
It really does.
We're not going to buy any new books. We are going to read our own books.
With some exceptions.
With a couple of exceptions.
But the goal
Mainly,
is to get the books that we already own read.
Yes. Our plan is to...
How we're going to get them read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because unfortunately it's more complicated than take a book off your shelf and read it.
It is, because both of us are mood readers.
Yeah.
So basically what that means is we'll be in the mood for a specific type of story. And we've even tried to have like a book club with each other because we both love reading so much. And we do both love a lot of the same type of books. But because we're both mood readers, it was really hard to be in the same mood for the same book at the same time. So we couldn't do that anymore.
No.
So we went through and counted all of our books. And I have a total of 231 books. That is not including some like textbooky style books that I have, or like some picture books that I've collected that are like beautiful poetry or whatever. It's not including that. So just like general books. Yeah. I have 231.
I have 245. And again, not including like, I've got some ASL textbooks and I've got some children's picture books that I didn't include. But
that's really close, almost the same number. That's crazy. How weird.
That is weird. Of my total of my 245 books, there's things like I have 2 sets of Jane Austen books. Like I've got the Penguin cloth-bound classics hardcovers, and then I also have the Penguin English Library paperbacks.
Because sometimes you need more than one.
And then I also have a bind-up all over.
No, because like, for example, the Harry Potter books, I have the original chapter books, like the hardcover. Yeah. And then I'm collecting the first illustrated editions, and now I'm also collecting the second illustrated edition. So like for example, the first Harry Potter book, I have 3 copies of that. Actually I have 4 because I found one in Spanish and I wanted to get them all in Spanish.
Oh, cool.
So of my total books, 231 books, I have 135 of them which I haven't read.
And of my 245, I have 148 that I haven't read.
It's so crazy to me.
But see, that's not even, that's not counting, we discussed this, that's not counting like I have 2 copies of Mansfield Park that I haven't read. That's only counted once.
Yeah, she's not counting that twice. So that's a lot of unreads.
Yeah.
So our goal this year is to dip into those as much as possible. And this is how we're gonna do it. So we're splitting our books up into categories.
So like, instead of like just a traditional TBR jar where every single title is put into the jar and you just pick one, that wouldn't work, because I would pick something out and be like, not today, and put it back. Yeah. Which defeats the purpose. Yeah.
So I have decided that I'm gonna have a total of 3 TBR jars, and a TBR jar is a to be read jar. So basically you're taking every name of every title that you have on your shelves that you haven't read yet, and you're writing it on a slip of paper and you're putting it in the jar and, you know, picking out of it to see what you're gonna read. So of those jars, I'm gonna have 3.
You're gonna have 3 different jars.
Yes.
I think what I'm gonna do is write the titles of books. Each category that I have will be a different color of like construction paper, and write it on that and put them all in the same jar.
And of my 3 jars, 1 jar is gonna be fiction. So I'm gonna put all of my fiction, whether it be classical literature?
Classics.
Classics, whether it be current YA, fantasy, whatever. All of it's going in one.
I can't do that. I'm breaking my fiction up. I'm having classics because I've got things like Bleak House on there. And I'm not going to necessarily always be in the mood for Bleak House.
Well, I was
when I want fiction.
I was scared that if I separated my fiction up too much, then I would be like always sticking to one category of fiction. See that. And I wanted to force myself to read, for example, I have Mysteries of Udolpho, which I've had for years, and it's this, you know, fat classic book, and I want to read it, so I want to like make myself potentially have to read that if it comes up.
I think that's the thing for me. I'm gonna have classics, and then because I could easily get down into very niche, like, oh, YA fantasy fairies, and like I can't do that, so I'm gonna have classics, fiction, non-fiction. I think I might.
So these are our categories. My my 3 categories are going to be fiction, personal development / business, and history / biography, because I would already have to do a fiction and non-fiction category, so I just broke up my non-fiction into 2.
And personal development and business is non-fiction, but it's very different than historical and biography.
Yeah, I feel like they're totally different categories, and since I love both of those types of non-fiction, I felt like it would be good maybe to alternate, or, you know.
My non-fiction is true crime stuff and some biographies or historical things. So I feel like that's just one category of non-fiction.
So how many are you having total? I'm having 3.
I think I'm going to just do 3.
And they're going to be fiction?
They're going to be fiction, non-fiction, and classics, because I can't.
Let's talk about our exceptions, because we did decide up front that we are going to have some exceptions to this.
You have to.
When you're book lovers like we are, you're going to have exceptions to this. Like, it's just going to happen.
You know why, too? Because the goal, I mean, I don't know, for me, I love having bookshelves, and I always want a library. So to me, owning books, even if I've only read it once and I may not even read it again for the next 10 years, is fine. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And literally one of my dreams is to have a library. Like, I want to have a library, and I'm going to theme it. I haven't decided if I'm going to theme it to Beauty and the Beast or Peter Pan. I know. I really haven't decided yet, but it's going to be beautiful when that day comes.
Yeah.
So our exceptions. How about, like, we can... I'll say one of mine. So one of my exceptions is... What was my second exception? Okay, so one of my exceptions is that I have a lot of first books in like a series. So when that book comes up, if I finish it and like it, I'm going to allow myself to then get the next book in the series. And the reason that I'm doing that, well, I kind of have to, because I can't go for a really long time between reading, like...
So you're more of like, for series, you would prefer to start a series if it's already like mostly published, so you can binge it all together.
Yes, but the reason is that I forget so much, and I don't want to have to go reread the first one before I can read the next one, because I have so many books and I want to read all of my books. So I don't want to have to go reread it, so I want to read the next book, you know, right after. So I'm allowing myself that exception. I have quite a few that are number 1. If I really enjoy it, I'll buy number 2, number 3, whatever.
One of my exceptions, the thing is, I already bought it. Here's the thing. My favorite currently publishing author is Maggie Stiefvater, and she generally comes out with at least a book a year. And she just published last year the first book in a new trilogy, and the next book comes out in May. So I have to. I already pre-ordered it.
So another exception that I have is I'm collecting the illustrated Harry Potters, and those tend to come out within a year or 2 years. So I'm pretty sure that this next year in 2021 it's going to be Harry Potter number 5's illustrated. Yeah. And so I'll buy that because I'm collecting them.
I have another exception in that I was given a gift card by coworkers to use specifically for books. So I'm gonna use that gift card for books. But that's a present,
yeah. And speaking of presents, we are filming this video prior to Christmas. And just in case, like if either of us receive any books for Christmas, we're gonna add those obviously.
That's the thing, because I think we both have books on our...
We both have books on our Christmas list. Yeah, which, of course we do.
My mom yelled at me because she said it's all books.
I have a lot of books. I also have a lot of puzzles. I always give really long Christmas lists because I just like so many things. And I'm like, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
Options.
I think other than, even more than Tallulah, I think I give like the most, like the longest Christmas list.
You know why? You're very particular in what you like, and you know what you like, and that's it. It's helpful.
yeah, I don't expect to get it all. So.
Right. Hey, if you're looking for a gift, this might be nice. Oh my God. Okay.
So if we end up getting any books for Christmas, those are gonna also be added. So something else that we are gonna do is we're not necessarily only going to choose out of our jars to read. So we both know what books we have.
Yeah.
If we're in the mood for something specific, we'll just read that book. Like the point is to read the books that we own. And so we'll just read the book that we want to read that we already own.
Right.
Rather than having to only just pick out of a jar.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, if it's like, okay, I don't know what to read, then I'll choose from my jar. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were discussing that, like how many times do we think is acceptable to keep putting it back? Like you pick the name out of the jar and you're like, no, and you put it back in. How many times are you giving yourself to do that?
Because we're allowing ourselves to be mood readers, but also if you're never in the mood for it, then there's a problem.
You're probably not gonna read it.
Yeah.
And life's too short and there are way too many books out there, so.
Yeah, that's another thing I need to talk about too, is deciding at what point do I DNF a book.
Yeah.
I used to never DNF books. Even if I hated
still
it,
have
I would
such a hard
finish
time.
it.
Which DNF, if you're not familiar with that term, means did not finish.
Or
did not finish.
But it's used as a verb to basically be like, oh, okay, no, I'm putting it down. I'm not reading this book
anymore. Yeah, so that's hard because I really will, like, I have such a hard time not finishing a book, even if I really don't like it.
I never know when to DNF a book. Like, I read The Girls by Emma Cline, and by all rights, it should have been a book that I loved, but I didn't. And I didn't even DNF it until like 80% done, but then I skimmed the end. Like, I can't get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done, and make that decision. So do I set a hard and fast rule for myself? Like, in a classic, I'll give myself 100 pages, and then if I'm really not connecting, I'm done, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's hard to just do a hard and fast rule because books are so different and each one is so different, and even your mood in reading it is so different. Yeah. So that's hard. I mean, maybe because I'm giving myself the hard and fast rule that if I pull it out of my jar and I don't want to read it, I'll put it back. If I pull it out of my jar and I don't want to read it, I'm just getting rid of it. I'm literally giving myself 2 shots because I feel like 2 times and I'm not going to want to read it, then okay, just move on.
It's probably a good idea, but geez.
Yeah. And it's
hard to commit to that. It's hard.
I really don't know about the DNF. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we just have to be more honest with ourselves about each specific book, and then it'll.
And I think that's the thing too, is if I know that like I'm not getting through my books, realistically assess, okay, am I gonna read this or not? And if not, then get rid of it. The only book I've ever DNF'd is Anna Karenina, which actually annoys me because I want to read it. I want to have read it, so that's a pride issue. But anyway.
But I am going to try to start DNFing because I have so many books and there are so many other books I want. Like, I already know of probably at least 10 or 15 books that I don't own that I want to own. Yeah.
And see, my problem with DNFing is that I have started a book and been like, meh, maybe it's just not the right time for it. And then picked it up again later and loved it, so I'm scared of that.
Yeah, just
being like, oh, X that out of my life forever.
But I feel like
maybe it was
you
gonna
can
be the best. I think that I'm not gonna like Anna Karenina.
Yeah, so just watch the movie. They have the one with Keira Knightley and she's beautiful.
Mom and I watched half of that, and then I think she was not liking it because
it's very depressing.
I like depressing things.
I don't.
I love.
This is why sometimes she wants me to read books, and I'm like, no, I don't want to read that. Like,
I like dark, like fantasy that hurts you. No, like maybe it does. Like maybe I like books that maybe don't have a happy ending.
No, I don't like that. Like, everything needs to work out. However, she's reading a book right now that I just read, and I told her she absolutely had to read this book, which is called The House of Salt and Sorrows, and it's so good.
That's the second book this year that I've read that you told me to read.
Also read These Shallow Graves. These Shallow Graves.
Which was so good.
Yeah, but I'm pretty good at telling you, like, if it's a really good book. Like,
see, that's that's the thing. Yeah, you are. And like, I tried to get her to read The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which I love, but it was just a little bit on the side of not quite her thing.
Yeah. I mean, I may attempt it again at some point,
although she had me read
Caraval, which I love that whole trilogy.
Well, I only read the first one because me, but
just literally though, that's like the only way that we differ. because we have so many similarities in like what we like,
Mm-hmm.
but then when it comes to like true crime or like the darker stuff, like I don't.
But see, that's the thing. You love like personal development and business, and I can't. No, I couldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
How long do we think that it'll take us
To read all of our unread?
all of our unread books, not including any new ones in the weekend? Well, the thing is if you think about in the last few years, if I'm on a really good reading year, the most that I read was 37 books in a year. And a lot of the books on my TBR are long ones, and that's part of the reason they're on there still, is because they're huge.
Well, like for me this year, I'm on track hopefully to read 30. I might not make it, I might hit 29. But I feel like...
I'm at 22 right now. I'll probably get to 24 at least by the end of the year.
But I honestly feel like I don't read that often, and I know that there's more space in my...
That's my problem.
Like in my, what do you call it, schedule, where I could read more.
Being more intentional about setting aside the time to do it.
Yeah, because it's too easy. Like, you can lose how much time just being on your phone. And like, I could be reading during that time. So like, even like if I'm gonna go somewhere, like if you're at the doctor's or whatever, bring a book and read rather than be on your phone, and then you can read more. So I'm gonna... Like, if I'm looking at the number that I have, which is, how many unread was it? It was a lot.
135?
Yeah, 135. So if I'm doing like 30 a year, that's like 4 years of books. I mean, to read just what I have.
Yeah, well, okay, 145, roughly 25 a year is a lot.
A lot. 5 years.
6 years, 5.92.
Yeah, 6 years. And where am I at? 4.5 years. So...
That's not taking into account that we may start a book and be like, okay, yeah, no, that's not what I thought.
Yeah, which is probably going to happen. And then not only that, like I said, I'm planning on reading more often. So hopefully it'll be more than 30. But part of my problem is I'm a slow reader. And the reason is because like, I just love to just like...
Savor.
Yes. Like just swim in a book. Like I just want to enjoy it and like keep...
Immerse.
Yeah, being in that story.
Yeah.
So I don't try to speed read through anything. And... It's good on the one hand because then I'm really enjoying what I'm reading, but then it's also bad because then I have so many books to read. I'm never going to be able to read them all if I keep reading them all so slowly. So, and then again about if we don't read all of our books this year, which we pretty much determined that it would take us like 4 years to read all of our books anyways. So, or 6 years in your case. So obviously we are not going to finish reading all of our books by the end of this year.
No.
I'll probably try to keep like maybe pulling out of my own jars to read as much as I can the next year, but I'll probably buy some books too. I feel like if you're a book lover and you go for a whole year without buying like new books, then
that's painful.
That's painful.
But see,
and
then
I don't know how we could do it just 2 years in a row.
Maybe that's like us giving ourselves exceptions will make it so that
it's not terrible.
January 1, 2022, we're not walking out of Barnes and Noble like this.
Oh my gosh. So, final thoughts. How are you feeling about going into this? How successful do you feel that you're going to be? Do you think you're going to start and then like by February you're like, nope, can't do it? Like, how do you think you're going to be?
Okay, so I'm scared and excited. Apprehensive hope. I think I would really like to do this because every year I do actually tell myself, oh, I'm on a book buying ban, I'm not going to buy anything, and then because I don't actually have a plan for that, I just don't do it. So I'd like to say I'm gonna give it the old college try, but no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
No, you better commit.
I'm committed. I'm gonna do it. But this is what I'm scared of. I'm scared of because like committing and saying I'm gonna do it, but because of that, I only read 4 books.
No,
you know
just
what I mean?
read them.
I know.
You have to remember, you're not forcing yourself to read books you don't want to read.
That's true. I want to read them all. That's why I own them.
These are all books that you bought because you want to read them.
It's not just a random book. It's a book I want to read. Okay.
Yes. It's not like I'm giving you the challenge of you can only read the books I tell you to read this year.
Right? Oh no.
I will never do that challenge, by the way.
And then you read the books I tell you to read?
Yeah, no. That's never. No, that is never happening. So we're not doing that. These are books we want to read.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why for me, I'm genuinely excited about this. I'm really genuinely excited about it. I know that I have so many books on my shelves that look so good and sound so good that I've wanted to read for so long. So I'm really excited about it.
That's true.
So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be great. And I do like the fact that we have each other, that we're doing this book together, so like we can kind of see like how it's going and like, you know.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, you're the only one that really reads anything like what I read. So we can talk about it. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Me too.
And I think it's going to be cool. And I think it's going to be kind of tough, but I think we can do it. And I'm really excited to do like our 6-month check-in and see how many books we've read and if we've had to DNF any or whatever. And if you are a reader, you can probably understand that this is a thing that we're about to try to go into right now.
Yeah. It's not even facetiously, it's a challenge.
It's genuinely a challenge for us.
Also, I did have a question for you. Is there anything when you were counting your books that you saw and you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to read that next year? Or did you not? Like...
yes, the, what's it called? The Daughter of the Pirate King or whatever?
Oh, I forgot you had that.
I forgot I had it too.
That's the problem.
I really wanted to read that book. If you're a reader and you've done anything like this, or if we've even inspired you to try to do anything like this, let us know below.
Yeah. Give us some moral support.
Yeah. So if you guys want to follow Jen's Goodreads, if you have friends, be her friends and see everything she's reading, it's, what is it?
I don't think we can, I don't know. I don't know what off the top of my head.
We'll link it in the description and you can go follow her and be friends with her. And yeah, so give us moral support in the comments. Let us know if you're going to try anything like this or if you have tried anything like this.
Or what you set your reading challenge at, like.
Yeah, how many books do you genuinely try to read in a year? Yeah, let us know because that's interesting. So yeah, we hope that you guys enjoyed this video. We're excited to see where it's going to go. And yeah, that was fun talking about it.
Happy reading!
Happy reading! If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!